keeping my Xerneas safe and keeping my team safe.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be up to Rapha to try and protect that Mawile and put it in a good position, and it's going to be up to Conan to try and make sure that Rapha doesn't get in a good position. And he's got the skill, he's got the ability to do that thanks to that Cresselia, thanks to that Amoonguss. So this is going to be an interesting dynamic. I think both players are equipped to have a very even matchup.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Rapha's probably going to notice the slower Groudon and the Amoonguss, and he might fall into the pitfall of Amoonguss one game, but
Now,
I feel like he's not going to allow that to work.
Now, to be fair, so obviously the players don't know what the speeds of their opponent's Pokemon are necessarily, but we're using two teams with Trick Room here. We don't know which Groudon's faster, which one is slower.
We don't know where Kyogre fits into this.
No.
But, at the same time, I feel like it doesn't matter if your Groudon is slower than their Groudon. If the Amoonguss is slower than you, Trick Room still is not going to be fun. Although, we have seen that Bronzong does carry Safeguard and Lumberry. As we saw in the game versus Hiroki, he set up Trick Room just as Amoonguss switched in, and then he protected and safeguarded to ensure that Spore wouldn't be ruining his day.
Mm-hmm. So Rapha does have text for that Amoonguss. Sorry, I think I said earlier that Conan used Cresselia Amoonguss over in Dual Mega.
He actually doesn't have Smeargle.
Yeah, sorry, I was incorrect there. It's Conan doesn't have Smeargle Talonflame. He's gone for Amoonguss Cresselia.
Well, it's Conan. Could you see him running Dark Void?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. You can follow Conan on Twitter if you'd like to hear more about that. We're gonna hop right into this game here. And Conan, we see that Salaman's Amoonguss lead once again against a similar team, so it makes a lot of sense. And that seems to be his go-to lead combination when he's scouting out what his opponent's potentially going to do.
And we see Thunder's Maul, which seems to be a pretty good lead matchup. The Amoonguss can be taunted, the Maul doesn't take much damage from the Salamence, neither does Thundurus. And nothing wants to take a play rough, nothing really wants to take an Iron Head.
And Amoonguss, obviously not an offensive Pokemon, but literally very little offensive pressure coming up from Salamence this first turn. It has intimidated the Mawile, but that's not going to save it from a play rough, especially if it's hasty.
Yeah.
But Thundurus also, obviously, last game we saw Hayden try and taunt that Amoonguss, and Conan played it where he watched out for that, and he didn't let Amoonguss get taunted.
Oh, and this switching would be pretty rough, because the Amoonguss is almost guaranteed to survive whatever happens, and Mental Herb will make sure that it gets to get Spore when it wants to. And
So what has Hayden done?
Yeah.
Or sorry, Rapha done?
This Groudon is not going to care what's coming its way.
Yeah, there's all the potential here for Rapha to get punished using that switch in. We see another really good, really powerful switch in from Conan. We saw those last game, and Rapha does go for the
An Iron Head. Oh, it goes to Groudon.
Wow, and an Iron Head into Groudon. He didn't want to miss. So that's big. Thundurus just got put to sleep.
I think he expected Conan to just Rage Powder. And now this is something I mentioned with Hayden, where when he got himself into a bad position, and then he didn't find anything out for it. So he hasn't even bothered to taunt this Amoonguss and find out that it has the Mental Herb. So, like in game 2, he might just fall into that pitfall of saying, okay, I have to taunt this. Oh wait, this didn't work.
So Rapha running dual Primos team. He doesn't want to take a Precipice Blades by any means. Amoonguss can even threaten with Grass Knot for good damage against Kyogre. I mean, what do? You don't want to just give Conan a turn, but I feel like Precipice Blades is a strong play anyway. Maybe this turn you try and wake up with Thundurus and protect them all out from Rapha's perspective. Conan, on the other hand,
Well, if Conan's,
we're gonna see, I guess.
If Conan's playing safe, he'll probably just want to Precipice Blades and hit any switches. But if he's going aggressive, he's gonna Fire Punch that Thundurus. And we see the Precipice Blades, so punishing any potential switch, sporing the Thundurus. So he really thought it would switch out and try to be more relevant.
So that's interesting. That was a very good play by Rapha to manage that momentum. So Conan got a lot of momentum with very strong switch first turn. But Rapha burns a turn of sleep and finds himself back into a slightly more threatening position here.
Mm-hmm. And like Conan, he didn't want to fire punch that Mawile because if a Kyogre comes in, it feels really bad.
And we see a Mawile switching out here.
So this play might look familiar if you watched our last match.
But it's Thunderous. It's only spent one turn.
We don't know if it has hidden power, but when you make this switch, it's just like leading Talonflame Smeargle and switching the Groudon on turn 1. You know it's coming.
I don't know if everyone does. I don't know if but we see the Thunderous stay asleep.
And Amoonguss didn't go for the Spore.
For the Christmas or for the Rage Power?
Oh yeah. So if Thunderous had woken up, that certainly would have gone nothing. And Spore going to Kyogre, which hasn't even taken one sleep turn.
Oh,
that has gotta feel bad.
This is a rough situation.
And now
Rapha to find himself in.
Amoonguss really has no reason to do anything other than just Rage Powder.
Yeah. I mean, you could see the Thunderous potentially waking up and Spore that slot again and just cover that
Rage
off.
Powder because you're thinking with that play, I gotta fear HP Water.
Absolutely. I mean,
Conan has just faced someone who tried this. Like, this is something fresh in his mind. Even if he doesn't know that Rapha has it, I think he has to expect it. And when you're this far ahead in the game, you don't just say, if he has it, I'll win game 2 and 3. You say, I'm keeping a lock on this game.
And so we actually see Conan not opt to Rage Powder. Instead, he switches Groudon out to try and regain the weather control later in the game and also avoid that HP Water.
Yeah, so Xerneas won't take anything from it.
VGC with Watts there stays asleep.
Yeah, so now the Amoonguss is free just to Rage Powder and get a free Geomancy.
Yeah, next turn.
Grass Knot almost knocks out Kyogre.
Very good position for Conan. Obviously, 2 sleeping Pokemon in the field.
And his Geomancy, like, Conan doesn't like Smeargle, but he takes his time to put his opponents to sleep. Like, he doesn't want to just make everyone take a nap at the same time. He kind of staggers them a bit.
I mean, this is a dominating position by Conan right now. How does Rapha come out of this? I don't know, but Conan's played very well to get himself into this position.
And the Dual Primals team, like, it's been touted for its success against the Big Six, but Conan's version has been very successful against the Dual Primals that are supposed to be the natural enemy.
It is interesting to see that they're selling him, just putting it work here.
And really, it's only just like, it's hard to block Cresselia.
Not the games we've watched.
Yeah, I think just a mental herb Amoonguss is very hard for this kind of team to deal with.
Certainly seems that way. So, and we see Amoonguss here set up a Rage Powder. What's gonna happen? VGC with Watts wakes up and gets a taunt off. Okay, so
Rapha will at least learn of the mental herb, which if he is going to lose a game, he should at least find these things out.
Yeah, that's a good thing for Rapha to get out and see it. But Conan's demonstrating that he is pretty safe. You know, he's got answers to Dual Primal's Bronzong.
And a Spore could just be coming out this turn.
To be fair,
we saw Rage Powder. Never mind.
And to be fair, Rapha hasn't brought Bronzong, but it would be hard to argue that bringing Bronzong is going to solve the Amoonguss problem. It does have Safeguard, but
it can stop. It's like Smeargle. Like, you can stop Dark Void, but
Rage Powder,
they just follow me. Like, you can't knock out the Xerneas if you don't attack the Xerneas. And Smeargle doesn't give you that choice. And that's part of what makes Smeargle so threatening, is that it can do all of those things at once, and it's really hard to account for everything it could be doing on any given turn.
And here we see Amoonguss doing a similar job. Rapha has no grass-type Pokemon that can ignore that Spore or that Rage Powder. I wonder, you know, it's tempting to try and think of ways to help out with this kind of matchup.
I think we need a Mega Venusaur on Rapha's team.
I was thinking safety goggles or some sort of silliness.
Oh man, Venusaur bros.
Well,
I know we're all about that Salamence now, but...
So Rapha switches Thunderous out for Kyogre, and Amoonguss protects with a Moonblast going into the Groudon, so big damage. Not quite a 2-hit KO.
Whoa.
And Rapha Fire Punches after switching in his Kyogre.
I think what he must have been expecting a Dazzling Gleam to come out and knock out the Kyogre, but if that had happened, he still would have lost the Sun.
Yeah, an interesting play. An interesting play coming up from Rapha there.
Like, I can respect not wanting to risk the Precipice miss,
but
I was just risking it. And also,
there's a big but there. It's like,
yeah.
And now we see, okay, so this time Fire Punch is actually going to go off.
It's Amoonguss.
Hits Amoonguss, gets the one-shot on Amoonguss. Base 180 attack stat, Amoonguss is not taking that.
No Intimidates either.
No, that is going down no matter how this works. Rapha still has Thundurus, still has Mawile in back. Xerneas has Geomancy at this point.
I feel like he's just in a really desperate spot because, like, Conan still has a Silent to Intimidate. Xerneas is still at full HP. He even has his own Groudon.
Yeah, it is a rough position for Rapha to be in. Of course, Thundurus can help against Groudon.
Groudon, well, not without Kyogre.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
The sun isn't up, but when Groudon comes back in,
it will be.
And if Conan can just knock out this Groudon, which is very close to going down, he just has the win when his Groudon's able to handle Mawile and Thundurus. So I think just a Dazzling Gleam Hyper Voice would pretty much seal up the game. The only way Rapha could win is if he protects Groudon, Thunder Waves one of them, they get fully paralyzed next turn, and he Thunder Waves the other one, and they also get fully paralyzed next turn. And then he still doesn't knock out the Xerneas in one hit.
Yeah, this is going to be... I mean, this is Conan's game right now. So we'll have to see what Thundurus can pull off. Xerneas... Both of them are big threats, but Xerneas is probably the bigger threat right now.
Well, as I said, I feel like they're actually equally threatening. Because either can knock out the Groudon, and if Groudon goes down, Conan's Groudon is just checkmate.
Could Rapha have switched out his own Groudon there for Mawile? Would it have taken those attacks?
I think it would have survived, but I don't think you want that to happen.
I'm just trying to think. What would that the big advantage of that would be that Groudon would have gotten rid of its Intimidate drop. Would that have done enough, given a paralysis?
I think a healthy Mawile is more important here. I mean, he's still
but you still got the potential Thunder Waves. I mean, obviously this didn't happen.
Yeah.
But you're going for the double paralysis. I think you want Mawile in on that turn to be able to take advantage of that first turn of paralysis.
I think Rapha's going to have to bank on the Xerneas getting fully paralyzed this turn.
I mean, I think the game is largely over. All he needs to do is kill the Groudon, KO the Groudon, which just protected.
It is there. Ooh, it went for a double protect. And a Tailwind.
Guaranteeing. Wow, so he
guarantees that his Groudon is faster, and he also hides the information.
And, kind of funny here, Xerneas at +2 speed, even when paralyzed, is still faster than Mawile.
Yeah, so it is back to neutral.
So it's clear off, but this is going to be Groudon coming in, Mawile versus the world.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too late.
So Conan takes this game with very solid play.
We don't know that. He could still hit the forfeit button.
So Conan takes this game with very solid play.
He could Moonblast his Groudon this turn and then Fire Punch his Xerneas.
Thanks, Max. So Conan takes this game with very solid play. What does he win?
Oh, he went for Precipice Blade. You can't target your Xerneas with that.
And we see Mawile go down.
Okay,
so
yes.
Conan
He could disconnect.
Okay, give me this one.
Okay, yeah, it's over.
All right.
I mean, I think the fact that we're here seeing that game